I put all my energy into making the best Scooby-Doo plush, but now I'm putting it to the test against 2 official Scooby-Doo plushies. And this time, I'm not sure I can win. So today, let's find out. Scoobert Scooby-Doo. This dog had an absolutely life-changing effect on me. He's 100% the reason why I listen to no-sleep horror stories when I make my plushies, and also got me into all sorts of horror content. I'm in it for the lore. So what better way to thank this series for everything it's gotten me into than a very special buy versus DIY video. And lucky for me, I already have a Scooby-Doo plush. Isn't he just adorable? And I placed a bid on the Scooby-Doo Build-A-Bear from 2020, so I'm sure that'll be... Oh, yep, okay. They declined it. Okay, I guess I can just... Yep. Okay, there we go. Thank you, Retro Styled, for accepting my offer. You are the best. But now that we have the competition locked and loaded, we have to make our contestant. Now, the design on this guy was pretty simple, but I still had trouble getting it to look right on paper. I think it's just the clashing styles I was going for. I wanted him to be slightly chibi-fied, but still keep that classic Scooby-Doo look. And those two things were not meshing well. In the end, though, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. As for the materials on this one, I'll be using my regular Shannon Cuddle 3 for the majority of this blush. Details will be done out of Mochi Minky for an extra soft feel. And then the eyes will be my lovely glass eyes. And no, we are not using resin this time. But now that we have everything planned out, let's get started on the actual project. Hey, did I mention that montage was extremely stressful to film? Why, you may ask? Well, because of a little issue I've been doing so well at avoiding lately. Up until this project. That is, I ran out of fabric. I thought I had everything I needed for this project. And technically, I wasn't wrong. I just barely had enough fabric to cut out all of Scooby. And also a little bit of wiggle room in case I needed to recut something small. Then I just need to cut out one more set of pieces. Oh, dang it. Oh, dang it. I cut that out wrong. Oh, not again. Okay, there. Now we have no wiggle room and cannot mess up again. It's fine. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Let's just go. Okay, so we got a lot of the little details done, meaning next we can move on to putting some of these bigger pieces together. And I feel like it's gonna go pretty quickly from here on out. What's getting me really excited is taking some of these skin pieces and just kind of like laying them on the prototype. It's letting me get kind of a glimpse of what this all is gonna look like in the end. And I am so excited. It's gonna look so good. Oh my gosh, guys, you don't even know. I just realized something actually as I'm standing here. I was going to put little freckles on these. I still technically could, but it'd be really hard to do it with the embroidery machine. I think I'd have to do it with some of this stuff, if it's even necessary. I didn't test the placement of freckles, so I don't know. I'm gonna maybe work on that a little bit behind the scenes, and then you'll be surprised whether or not I do it. Guys, I don't know how to say it, but I accidentally gave him puppy eyes. Like, it's cute, but like, did I want him to be cute? I don't know. Like, I don't have time to redo them. Painting eyes like this takes an entire day. Yeah, I just, like, he's gonna have to have puppy dog eyes. He's gonna have to be constantly begging for food. That's what my Scooby is, constantly begging for food. I'm sure I'll get used to it. It just wasn't what I was expecting. You know, now that I've had some time to think about it, I'm starting to really like those puppy dog eyes. I was going for a slightly chibi version of Scooby anyway, and now he kind of looks like a puppy. Which is awesome because one of my favorite Scooby-Doo shows as a kid was a pup named Scooby-Doo. I didn't get to see a ton of episodes, but the ones that I did get to see were really special to me. Now, even just the theme song can make me smile. So having my very own pup named Scooby-Doo, I think that's pretty neat. Now, let's get this little guy all finished up. Okay, we now have our main pieces done. We just need to attach these last couple things, like the head and the back legs. And because I really want to see what this is gonna look like stuffed, we're gonna use a little bit of magic to speed this along. Now let's turn them right side too, and then the skin will be done. Okay, the skin is done, and nothing has changed since the last time you saw it. Yeah, we all knew that wasn't gonna work. So what happened here, and why does he have a fully formed head and a noodle body? That is because of two things. While I was trying to figure out the placement of the eyes, I just kind of couldn't stop. So there is no footage of me putting the eyes on this head. I just wanted to make sure they were perfect, so I was like so in the zone, and then by the time I realized I should be recording this, I was putting on the last back to the eyes. So that's one reason why this looks like this right now, but what's the other reason? The other one is that I did not like this when it was first put together. The head, I turned that back inside out like multiple times to get it right. Going in there, re-sewing things, seam ripping things, sewing them again. This was a process. Then once the shape was right, the rest of it still seemed off. For some reason, it was like impossible to get the stuffing in between the eyes properly. So I already didn't want to unstuff the head after I'd stuffed it to test it. But then, as you can see, Scooby's done something new with his eyebrows. And that is because I realized after the fact, by looking at Scooby's competition, that his eyes were too thin. He should have been in his thick brow era. So that's what I did. So we're doing this eyebrow, not this eyebrow, and not the eyebrows under those eyebrows. Which means I do have to seam rip those off. And hopefully you won't be able to notice because the chunky eyebrows will be right there too. But now that all of that is out of the way, Scooby is ready to be fully stuffed. And I can't wait to see what he's gonna look like. And I'm sure you do too, but real quick before we go do that, I just wanted to give you guys a big thank you for making it this far into the video. And if you'd like this video so far, make sure you give the video a little like. And subscribe for more plushie making content. Oh, and a huge thank you to my Pixie tier and above patrons. You guys are the best. And if you'd like to join them, get your name up in every single one of my videos, make sure you go to patreon.com/SewMicah. You also get a ton of behind the scenes content, which is like super fun. And if you join at Bear tier up until the end of November, you will get this beetle sewing pattern. And there should also be a little tutorial on how to make a backpack for your Build-A-Bear. No sewing required. Now, let's get this literal puppy stuffed. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. It's bead time. Alright, now that he is all stuffed, it's time to move on to the hand sewing. We'll need some brown, some black, and then we would also need some blue, but I may or may not have sewn the collar off camera already. Whoopsies! Now, let's get started. Scooby-Doo is Scooby-Done. That was so bad. But now it's time to judge all 3 of these cuties to figure out which one is officially the best Scooby-Doo plushie. How this works is we have 5 categories: time, accuracy, hug feel, sensory feel, and price. All scored out of 10 for a maximum score of 50, plus any bonus points I decide to give for things that don't quite fit into our main 5 categories. Then they'll also be placed into special SewMicah ranking categories based on their scores, like one of these. And remember, some categories are objective, some are subjective. The point of these competitions are to find the best plushie, in my opinion, as a plush designer. And of course, to have fun. And let's be honest, there's no bad plushies in today's competition. So the real winner is me, who gets to keep them all. So with that said, let's get started. Our first category is time. How long did it take for me to get each plushie? Little Scooby here I got at my local mall a good chunk of years ago. So that's gonna get him a solid 9 out of 10. Just pop on over to the store and pick him up. Next, the Build-A-Bear Scooby. Now with this one, everything I say is directed at the shipping company, not at our bestie Retro Style. They got him sent out super quick. But from the date of the offer being accepted, he took 7 days to arrive. Not the worst shipping time by any means, but also not the best. So he's getting a 5 out of 10 in this category. My Scooby, on the other hand, only took 4 days to complete. So that's gonna give him a decent 7.5 out of 10. A good start for sure, but some of the later categories are gonna be a little tricky for my guy. Next up, we have accuracy. How closely do these plushies resemble their source material? Now, obviously, our little Scooby is a very different style and was never trying to look like an exact Scooby replica. But unfortunately, that does not change the rules of the category. Meaning that because of his adorable chibi design, he's gonna have to get a 5.5 out of 10 in this category. Our Build-A-Bear Scooby actually ties with our little Scooby for another 5.5 out of 10. That's for getting closer with the proportions, but still not really getting that classic Scooby shape, and being a little bit off color. The SewMicah Scooby definitely gets the closest out of all these Scoobies, but still has its drawbacks. Of course, he's got those adorable puppy dog eyes, which, like I just said, are adorable. But I wouldn't really classify Scooby-Doo as an adorable character. Not to mention, I omitted those freckles because I was scared of ruining the plush after it was already done. But I will say the proportions are nearly perfect on this guy. So I'm gonna give my Scooby an 8 out of 10. Now we move on to the first of our 100% subjective categories, hug feel. Pretty self-explanatory. Of course, I do scale my scores based on size, so a smaller plushie could be judged more on a cuddle or a hand feel, more so than hug feel. Just like I did in my Sprigatito buy versus DIY. That's another one where I had a really tiny plushie and I judged it more on a hand feel. That said, little Scooby isn't actually that bad. He's not amazing or anything, but not bad for a little cuddle during a movie or something. Plus, he's small enough to fit in your bag so no one judges you for bringing a plushie to the movie theater. So that'll earn him a 7 out of 10 for hug feel. Next, the Build-A-Bear Scooby. And this one's hug feel actually got me to reconsider making this video, it was so good.
Wait a minute, is this gonna be a hard video? Is it gonna be difficult to win this one? Cause I kinda love this guy.
I literally said out loud that I didn't want to make my own Scooby because I loved this one so much. So of course, this one's getting a 9 out of 10 for its video-shattering hug feel. He's just a little bit small, but still very nice. And lastly, my Scooby is gonna get a 7 out of 10 in this category. An accurate Scooby just isn't really great for hugging. The only reason his score is this high is because he does actually kind of feel like hugging a real pet. So that part's neat, but not a perfect hug feel by any means. Our second and last 100% subjective category is gonna be sensory feel. This category is super important because, in case you didn't know, hey, hi, I'm autistic. So the texture and whatnot of how something feels is very important to me. Our little Scooby is pretty old at this point, so he's looking a little scraggly, but knew he felt very similarly to the fabric I used on my Scooby. And I always give that minky fabric a base score of 8. And since there's very few other textures here, we're gonna go ahead and stick with that base score of 8 out of 10. The Build-A-Bear Scooby could have also gotten a score of 8 out of 10, but they just had to go and try and save a few pennies on this one. All his spots are made out of this cheap felt material, as are his nose, eyes, tongue, and collar. Plus, this tag is a weird cardboard thing. So good luck washing this bad boy. All that adds up to a soggy dog tag of a score, 6 out of 10. I still love you, even if you are and always will be a stinky, stinky boy. The SewMicah Scooby, on the other hand, is actually gonna get an 8.5 out of 10 in this category. He gets that base 8 out of 10 for the Cuddle Minky, but he also has extra nice textures like Mochi Minky details and those glass eyes. Lastly, the big boy of our categories, price. How much did each of these bad boys cost me to get? How this category works is I think up a dream price, a price I would immediately impulse buy the plushie at, and take points away as the price goes above that. Now, this is not to say that plushies are only worth my dream price, just that this is the price that I wouldn't think about the pain in my wallet at. So, dream price for Little Scooby is going to be set at $10. And if I'm not mistaken, Little Scooby cost me around $16 when I got him in stores. Meaning he's going to get a solid 8 out of 10 here. Our dream price for the Build-A-Bear Scooby is going to be set at $18. And with an actual price of $35, that'll be a 5 out of 10 for this cutie patootie. And lastly, the SewMicah Scooby with a dream price set at $25. His actual price? Well, that depends on how you want to calculate it, because I know how some people can get expecting me to include things like my electrical bill in the cost. So I'll give you 2 prices to go off of. The first being what's in the thumbnail, $400. But that does include equipment like my sewing machine. Materials alone though, that would settle in at around $40. Because I did have my sewing machine before I started this project and didn't need to buy it specifically for this project. I will be scoring based on the lower price, which means the SewMicah Scooby is going to be getting a 6 out of 10 in this category. But that's not all, because it's time for bonus points. I'm gonna give the SewMicah Scooby an extra 0.5 bonus points for the lovely glass eyes and the overlapped mouth, and an extra 0.5 bonus points to the Build-A-Bear Scooby for going above and beyond with the fun little detail of the tongue sticking out of his mouth. It's just a fun little detail. Overall, like I said, there are no bad plushies in today's competition. I really do love them all for lots of different reasons and in lots of different ways. But with that said, we do have to pick a winner for today's competition. And I'm actually genuinely nervous. I haven't added the scores all up yet, and I have no idea what's about to happen. Okay. And now, in first place, with a score of 37.5, the winner of the SewMicah Scooby-Doo Challenge is... Holy shit. It's a tie between the SewMicah Scooby and the little one. Honestly, I don't even know what to say. I think I don't deserve the tie here. I know, technically it is a tie, that's what the numbers say, but if I could only bring one of these Scooby plushies with me on a trip, I think it'd be the little Scooby, especially if I added some weight to him. So I usually wouldn't do this, since I want these buy versus DIYs to be 100% fair, but I think I'm going to retroactively give the little Scooby the win. Overall, he's just a really good plushie for the price. He may not be perfect or look exactly like Scooby-Doo, but honestly, I'm okay with that. You can clearly see how much effort went into crafting this pattern with the complexity of the face, and he's kind of perfect for bringing along on everyday adventures. My Scooby, while I absolutely love him, is a bit of an awkward shape. It just really messes up that hug feel. He looks fantastic, but that's the trade-off for the less than ideal hug feel. I think if I had gone more chibi with it, he maybe could have definitively taken that win. And of course, our Build-A-Bear Scooby is fantastic in all his own ways. He literally almost made me not do this video because I didn't want any other Scooby plushies. He's got a great hug feel, and really his only major flaw is the cheap material they used for his details. Overall, like I've said a million times this video, I don't think any of these plushies are bad. They all ended up in the SewMicah ranking of lovely jubblies after all. They just have their own strengths and weaknesses. It's really something I talk about in all of my buy versus DIYs. So if you want to hear more about the pros and cons of different plushies from a toy designer like myself, definitely check out my other buy versus DIYs. And you never know, you may just learn a thing or two. And that is a wrap on Scooby, 3 of them. That's the video. Scooby, 3 of them. Epic YouTube title. Scooby, 3 of them.